hurricane season. It's rarely ever calm, right? But this is something else. Hurricane Milton. It's on the move, and it went from like 0 to Category 5 in the blink of an eye. It's crazy. You remember Wilma back in '05 or Felix in '07? Yeah, this is giving off those vibes for sure. And as if Florida hasn't been through enough lately, with Hurricane Helene and everything. Now we've got Milton aimed directly at the Tampa Bay area, and that's a region that hasn't seen a direct hit in over a century. Seriously, you know what makes this even scarier? All that debris left over from Helene. Let's just say it's not doing anyone any favors.
Yeah, no kidding. What's fascinating and frankly concerning is how quickly Milton intensified. Like, it really highlights the challenges of forecasting these rapidly intensifying storms, especially in a world grappling with, climate change and all that.
Okay, so you said rapid intensification, which, to be honest, sounds terrifying. The sources I shared compared it to Wilma and Felix, and those are both storms that left a mark, to say the least. What causes a hurricane to suddenly go into overdrive like that?
Well, think of it like a car hitting the gas pedal, Several factors can contribute, but with Milton, it's the unusually warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico acting as like high-octane fuel. And here's where it gets really interesting, right? The article mentions Milton has what's called a pinhole eye, just like Hurricane Wilma did, actually.
Wait, so you're telling me this pinhole eye is actually making the hurricane more dangerous?
Exactly. This small, well-defined eye, it acts like a chimney almost. It pulls warm, moist air upwards with incredible force. And the faster that air rises, the lower the pressure in the eye becomes, and boom, rapid intensification.
Okay, so let me get this straight. Florida is still recovering from Helene, right? There's debris everywhere, people trying to pick up the pieces, and then bam, Milton explodes into this Category 5 monster heading straight for them. It's like a worst-case scenario.
It is, and it creates a logistical nightmare for everyone involved. Evacuations are being ordered, but imagine the challenges, right? Fuel shortages, landfills overflowing with debris from Helene. It's a race against time with incredibly high stakes.
And, this whole debris situation really struck a nerve with me when I was reading about it. They're saying everyday objects could turn into dangerous projectiles.
It's a very real danger. Think about it, right? Tree limbs, roof tiles, even pieces of furniture, all picked up and hurled around by hurricane-force winds. That's why clearing the debris from Helene before Milton hits is so crucial. It's not just about cleanup, it's about preventing even more damage and potentially saving lives.
Yeah. The article I shared mentioned debris removal crews having to break into a locked landfill because of the urgency. It really highlights the pressure everyone is under right now.
Absolutely. And we can't forget about the human impact of all this either. We're not just talking about wind speeds and storm surges. We're talking about real people grappling with incredibly difficult decisions under unimaginable stress.
It's true. Like Sarah Stislicki in Bel Air Beach. Mm-hmm. She was quoted saying she's frustrated because more debris wasn't collected sooner. And Sarah's story isn't isolated.
Yeah.
Right? We also heard from Tanya Maruntak, whose home was flooded by Helene. And now she's facing another potential evacuation with Milton. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is. And you bring up a really important point about the human toll these events take, especially in quick succession like this. Remember Hurricane Irma in 2017, millions evacuated, highways were jammed. Mm-hmm. It led to what experts call evacuation fatigue.
Evacuation fatigue. Tell me more about that.
Well, it's incredibly dangerous. You see, the real danger with evacuation fatigue isn't just that people might ignore warnings. It's that it can create a false sense of security. Right. They compare a current storm to a previous experience and underestimate the risk. And after a while, people get tired of living in a constant state of alert.
And it's not just individuals and families bracing for impact, is it? This is affecting the entire state. The article I sent, you mentioned Disney World closing, sporting events canceled, airports shutting down, everything's grinding to a halt.
Yeah. I mean, we often focus on the immediate dangers of a hurricane, right?
Yeah.
But the ripple effects extend far beyond the coastline. Think about the economic impact, for example. Businesses shut down, tourism takes a hit, supply chains are disrupted. It can take years for some areas to fully recover. And for places still reeling from past hurricanes like those hit by Ian in 2022, it's a brutal case of deja vu.
Seriously. Reading about all this, it really brought back memories of 2004 when Florida was hit by 5 hurricanes in just 6 weeks. I was just a kid, but I remember how wild it was. That's almost unheard of, right?
It is. It's a stark reminder of Florida's vulnerability to these powerful storms. And while it's difficult to attribute any single hurricane directly to, climate change, the science is clear. A warmer atmosphere holds more moisture, leading to heavier rainfall and the potential for more intense hurricanes in the future.
Yeah. It's almost unfathomable, the sheer power of nature we're talking about. One article I shared mentioned Hurricane Michael in 2018, the last Category 5 to make landfall in the mainland U.S.
Yeah.
The devastation was absolutely horrific.
It was. And that's why it's so crucial to take these warnings seriously. Evacuation orders, they're not suggestions. They're issued to save lives. If you're in an evacuation zone, listen to local officials, have a plan, and don't wait until the last minute.
Yeah. I know you're right. But it can't be easy to make those kinds of decisions, especially if you've already been through something like this before. Speaking of anxieties, the article mentions some residents are taking extreme measures, even parking their cars in city garages to try and protect them from potential flooding.
Yeah, it speaks to the gravity of the situation. A major hurricane is a powerful face of nature, and it requires a community-wide effort to prepare and respond. It's not just about individual resilience, but collective resilience. We need neighbors helping neighbors, communities coming together to support those in need.
That's right. I was particularly moved by the stories of people opening their homes to evacuees, even those who had suffered losses themselves during Helene. There's something incredibly inspiring about seeing that kind of compassion and solidarity in the face of such adversity.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there's always hope and there's always the potential for human kindness to shine through. Those acts of compassion and resilience are what will ultimately see us through.
It's a lot to process, honestly. You've got, this terrifying storm barreling down, the scramble to prepare, and then the lingering trauma of past hurricanes. It's like this weight hanging over everything.
It is, and we can't forget about those who will be on the front lines, during and after the storm, the first responders, the emergency management teams, the utility workers, all those folks who will be working tirelessly to keep people safe and restore services. They deserve our gratitude and support, that's for sure.
Absolutely. They're the unsung heroes in all of this. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, when you're bombarded with these hurricane reports and the news and everything. But it's important to remember that there's also incredible resilience in these stories. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. Despite the challenges, people come together to help their neighbors, communities. They rally to rebuild. There's this incredible determination to overcome adversity. That's something worth remembering, even in the face of these incredibly powerful storms.
Yeah, for sure. So where do we go from here? What are the key takeaways you hope our listeners will walk away with today?
Well, first and foremost, stay informed, right? And stay safe. Pay attention to the latest forecasts. Heed the warnings of local officials. And if you're in an evacuation zone, please don't hesitate to leave. But beyond that, I think this situation really underscores the importance of preparedness, both on an individual and community level. The more we can do to prepare for these, increasingly frequent and intense hurricanes, the better equipped we'll be to weather the storm, literally and figuratively.
That's a powerful message to end on. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from the science behind Milton's rapid intensification to the very real human stories unfolding in Florida. If you're listening to this, please stay safe. And remember, we're all in this together.